All right, the draft is starting.
Yeah.
The draft is starting.
Who sang the anthem?
I don't know if the anthem is even happening tonight.
Okay.
I don't know, but they're fired up in Pittsburgh. And nobody has announced that the draft is underway or the Niners are on the clock. But that doesn't stop us from having breaking news.
95.7 The Game, breaking news.
The Niners will stick and pick. Those are the exact words of Adam Schefter. Ian Rappaport also says, with trade offers on the table, it is likely that the 49ers will turn those down. So both Rapp and Schefter pretty much almost at the exact same time tweeting something that is along the same line. Schefter was more firm and simply said the Niners will stick and pick. They are planning to stick and pick and make a selection here at number 33 overall. So
are planning to,
yes.
Right. Plans can change.
Plans can change. Right.
We're going to the beach on Saturday. Forecast is for rain. Yeah. We're not going to the beach.
Well, you have a 3-year-old, so plans change. Hard. Yeah, plans change
all
constantly.
All the time. Yep.
The Niners do not have a 3-year-old, although they are about to take a young person.
Right, not that young, and they're not on the clock yet. And I believe we're at 7 minutes, right, Grandy, per pick, not per round, as I said yesterday.
7 minutes, yeah.
So they're not on the clock, and so you still have time, and the tweets go out, and that's the last warning.
Real quick, while you brought up minutes per pick, I want to say something about last night that I never thought would cross
like Major
my
League
mind.
Baseball.
Like, that was too fast.
Yep.
They switched from 10 minutes to 8 minutes, and it was too quick. I don't know how many of you experienced this, but it was like the pick is in, comes up on the TV screen, and then you sit there for 5 minutes trying to figure out when's Goodell going to come out. Do we need to bring out somebody to introduce something? And then also commercial breaks for TV. And it happens so often that by the time Goodell would announce the pick, they would then switch to whoever's next. And you're thinking, well, 8 minutes. No, they're on the clock as second that pick is in. And they'd switch to the next team. It's like they had 2.5 minutes to go. And then boom, the pick is in again. And I'm like, this is you. Like, draw this out a little bit more. And the whole thing was over in less than 3 hours.
I was thinking about Grandy and the boys and how much time they were going to have to fill on the back end, especially when you had no Niner pick to react to. So that became something that, when you're doing it on the air, it can be a little bit awkward. And right now they're introducing all the legends who will make the picks today. And the Niners officially are on the clock. So
TikTok,
the Niners are planning to pick at number 33, but they've got 6 minutes and 47 seconds to take more calls.
Yeah, unless that was just a big APB to both Schefter and Rappaport to say, let them know. All those offers you sent us, we'd like to say no. No.
It's a little like the final warning, I tell my daughter, if I have to go up there one more time, I'm taking your guys, which are her stuffies. So
would you like to up your offer? But the indications are that the 49ers are about to make a selection. They are approaching the 6-minute mark. So stay right here with us. We will be at the podium. We're expecting that to be former Niners punter Andy Lee, because team legends will be the ones up there announcing the picks here throughout this second round. 7 minutes per pick. But obviously the timing of all of that, the pick can be in and then takes a few minutes to get to the podium and whatnot. But we are very much expecting that within the next 7 or 8 minutes, there will be a new 49er announced.
Yeah, unless they move off the pick, and they still have 5+ minutes to do so. So if you're a team that's really eager to jump up and get that guy, you had all night to sleep on it, you had all morning to think about it and look at your board and figure out what your move is going to be. If you're a team that's right behind the Niners, you can kind of be more patient and hope that they don't take your guy. But if you're further down and you truly love somebody at 33 and you have to have that player, you can go ahead and swap up and go ahead and hope the Niners move back again.
No doubt. No doubt. One other report that I do want to share with everyone, and it comes courtesy of Jordan Schultz on Twitter. And he says, because I know this is something that some 49er fans have been absolutely kind of following, and it's the idea of adding an edge rusher, not through the draft, but through trade. And Schultz says that the New York Giants have been engaged today in trade conversations involving edge rusher Kayvon Tibido, and says the Saints are among the teams showing the strongest interest. If a deal happens, it could be as soon as tonight. The New York Giants are open to listening on Tibido. So edge rusher, we know, an area of need for the 49ers, as it almost always is. Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams both coming back, expected to be healthy by training camp. But that said, we know they want to add more there. Will they do it through the draft? Will they do it tonight? Will they do it through some sort of a trade for somebody who's already in the league?
Under 4 minutes to go for the Niners to make their first pick in the second round, number 33 overall. And as I look at these Kalshi markets, they fluctuate, but Denzel Boston is still the most invested in choice to be taken at 33. So if he's taken at 33 by the Niners, then the 56% of the investors would be the ones cashing in on the yes. I'm just not sure if that's the way that they're going to go.
I would listen. I'm not sure either. Like, hello. At the same time, it would really, really surprise me if the 49ers opt to do that again with a very, very early pick and grab a wide receiver with all of the attention that has been paid to that position this offseason. Letting Juwan Jennings go, kind of just blinking in the face of any sort of a Debo reunion, but getting Mike Evans, also getting Christian Kirk, knowing that they've talked about their younger guys, Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing, coming up. And then obviously there's still Ricky Pearsall, a first-round pick from just a couple of seasons ago. With all of that in the room, don't forget DeMarcus Robinson too. The idea of putting this amount of capital into a wide receiver, I don't like the idea personally.
Especially when you half the time only have two receivers on the field.
Yeah.
So this could be a case of you draft him now and you could still trade him later. You could trade him later in the day or you could trade him tomorrow. That's rarely done in the NFL, but you're allowed to. And, I was just looking at the Cardinals war room and they look a little bit angsty. They might be a team that is really interested in not David Boston, but Denzel Boston. Somebody, they've got just the one receiver who is of note, and he's not necessarily having the greatest career. And Mike Wilson had a great second half, but he's not absolutely a one either.
The Niners are taking this all the way down. They're at the 2-minute mark as far as whether or not they will make a pick. The words "pick is in" have not come up on the screen yet.
Good point.
So that means, no doubt, people are still on the phone in the back room and trying to figure the whole thing out. But the 49ers, I won't say for the first time in the 2026 NFL draft are on the clock because they've been on the clock, but it's potentially the first time they're actually going to make a selection.
And it's in.
And there it is. The pick is in. So unless that logo changes, which I've seen happen a couple of times last night, but as of right now, they're saying that the pick is in and that the 49ers will stick and pick. So we will be at the podium shortly to let you know exactly who this is, announced by former 49er punter Andy Lee. Will it be wide receiver? Will it be safety? Will it be edge rusher? Will it be offensive guard? As Mark Schlereth said to us yesterday, the Niners need fat people.
Yep.
And he's not wrong.
He's not, but I think you might be able to get one of those guys a little bit later. And certainly if you love Denzel Boston as the receiver, then that would be the direction that you would go. And he would not be available later. So that would be the way you'd have to do it. And now the Kalshi markets have officially closed as far as, they've shut down Boston Basantis and Zion Young. So, man, they're off the board, as is McNeil Warren.
And Basantis, an offensive guard. Zion Young, based on listening and talking to Greg Cosell about that, I mean, a good edge rusher, but I don't think the kind of style that would fit exactly what the 49ers need. So we'll see. We'll see. There are a lot of directions this can go. I'm mildly surprised, quite frankly, based on the reporting we've seen in the last hour, that this pick is actually going to happen. But the Niners, apparently, there is somebody that they really feel strongly about here that they would not be able to get later. So we're about to get an announcement shortly.
Yeah, it's exciting. And Tim Kawakami with a tweet, will they pass up Denzel Boston a third time? ? So we're about to find out.
Here we go. Andy Lee is walking out to the podium now, so we're about to get the word. Here we go.
What's up, Pittsburgh? I just want to say it's awesome to be back in my college hometown. It was an honor to play here for 4 years, and I just want to thank the 49ers for this opportunity. I want to give a shout out to the 49er faithful, the best fans in the NFL. With the 33rd pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select De'zhaun Stribling, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Oh, my gosh. So not only do they go wide receiver, but not the one everyone thought. Not the one everybody thought was coming.
De'Zhaun Stribling, Ole Miss, 6'2", 207. ESPN had him overall ranked at number 76, and he goes 33. Your immediate thoughts and reactions?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it, but it's not that I don't like the player.
You know my bit, Mark. I like the player and I like the pick. You haven't heard me say that, have you?
Okay, so what's your reaction?
No, not Stribling. Why are you taking a wide receiver at 33?
Well, maybe he's going to be awesome.
He might be.
Maybe
he's allowed to be
awesome. Yeah,
he has to change his number. He wears number 1.
I mean, now I'm watching highlights of him, and I'm like, yeah, I look like a pretty good football player. But I got to stick to what I was just saying. Like, I don't love the idea of wide receiver right now at this point for the 49ers for multiple reasons. One of them is a micro and one of them is a macro. My micro reason is I just feel like there's too much attention being paid to this position on this particular roster. You've got Mike Evans. You've got Ricky Pearsall. You've got Christian Kirk. You've got DeMarcus Robinson. You've been telling us you like Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing, and now you use your highest capital pick on this position again. It tells me that the other positions of need, you just don't really love those players, and that's fine. That's your evaluation. You don't really love the safeties that are out there. You don't love the guards that are out there, or you feel like you've got a good chance to get them later on tonight. That's what that tells me. That's my micro thought. My macro thought is just kind of like what we were talking about with Greg Cosell. The wide receiver thing is out of pocket in the NFL right now. There is absolutely too much attention, too much money being sent to wide receivers. And I understand what Jackson Smith and Jigba just did, but by the same token, think about the star receivers that are out there, CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and we could go on. And you look what the Niners just did with Brandon Ayuk. It's too much money being sent to players who do not affect winning at that number. I think they're a big deal. They're just not that big of a deal.
Maybe that's why you go this direction and you go ahead and draft a guy, not in the first, so now it's a second round, so you don't have to worry about 4 years, and it's a 4-year deal, but 3 with the 4th-year option. Here's the pre-draft analysis, according to ESPN, on Stribling. Good frame, top speed to make plays downfield. Occasionally he can get lazy at the top of his routes.
Lazy?
Rounding off routes. He played in an RPO offense. He has displayed good ball skills. If he finds open space, he can take it to the house. In the run game, he's a willing blocker and at times will mix it up in the box.
Okay, willing blocker. I mean, to me, it sounds like what they just did is replace Juwan Jennings.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
With the number 33 pick overall.
Which, that's fine. Juwan became a really, really important player. And by the way, the guard that some thought the 49ers would take with the 33rd pick just went 34th to their division rival, the Arizona Cardinals, Chase Basantis. Look, two things I'd like to say that are both about phones. Number one, your reaction to this. The Niners go wide receiver with their first pick. I am surprised. I'm not big on the idea. Dibs isn't either. We'd love your thoughts. 888-957-9570. And then I'd also say this to the guys. Grandy, Lucas, Nahegan, if he can hear in the other room, I would love a text response from Greg Cosell. Just a text response on what he thinks of this wide receiver at this moment. And I know that he's going to say, look, I don't care when guys go. I'm just a big fan of either the guy or I'm not a big fan of the guy. But I don't think there's any way around this. The Niners are going to get accused of a reach here. They don't care, but they're going to get accused of a reach here because, as you said, this guy was mocked as a third-round pick, and he just went with the first pick of the second round.
NFL.com had him at 62 overall, and they do the prospect grade, which is 6.28, will eventually be an average starter, is the way they have him rated.
Well, I mean, but how many
it's just a rating.
That's a... But
you win some and you lose some, but that's basically like Greg Cosell, in his opinion, looking at tape. They don't just make this stuff up, so it's their assessment.
Yeah, but Juwan Jennings, by the way, was not even going to make the league, according to a lot of those assessments at draft
and the picks
time.
that were made yesterday of the 32, at least 10 of them are going to be first-round busts. My issue is that you go ahead and you draft a wide receiver. Again, when you have greater needs, you need an edge, you really need a guard, and you need a safety. I believe you still need a tight end to make sure that George Kittle's going to be ready to go. You've got greater needs to me than a wide receiver.
You do have greater needs, but I support the idea of not just need-based drafting, especially early in a draft. So, for instance, I'll agree with you. They need a safety more than a wide receiver. They need a guard more than they need a wide receiver. But over the next 24, 48 hours, they may get a lot of those things.
They could.
I don't want you to get a safety if you don't like the safeties that are available in round 2 and you think a bunch of guys are going to be available in 3 and 4. I don't mind that. But in general, there's no two ways about that this is. I find this to be a little bit of a head-scratching thing because I'm already looking at this and thinking your receiver room is kind of crowded. Like, let me put it this way. How the hell is this guy getting on the field this year?
Well,
and if he does,
probably isn't.
Okay, then that's...
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you took Jordan Watkins last year, and he didn't get on the field. Literally did not get on the field.
He got hurt, though. He got hurt,
but I don't know if he was going to get on the field. Kyle Shanahan doesn't play a lot of rookie wide receivers in general, and we've been doing a lot of war room breakdowns. I don't know if you saw the war room when they cut to the 49ers after the pick was announced.
I did.
Jed York was up celebrating with, I believe, his children. John Lynch looked happy. Kyle Shanahan was not happy. He did not look happy.
I did not see it that way. I thought the camera... He
wasn't smiling.
I know, but I thought the camera caught him in a moment where he was zoning out on something else.
He shook no hands.
Yeah, he
pumped no fist.
Jed York tapped him on the back, and then he stood up with a smile afterwards. I think they just caught him zoning out.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to criticize Sean McVay, then...
No, because Sean McVay looked mad like 3 hours later and while talking about it.
We'll see how Kyle looks, but when I looked up at the screen and saw him, he did not look happy.
And here's the other thing I'll say about that. Like, a quarterback may... And I don't really know the structure of the Rams as far as Les Snead versus McVay. Let me tell you something right now. If the 49ers just selected an offensive player, that was Kyle. There ain't no way in hell... promise you that anyone just went over Kyle's head to pick a receiver.
Well, I hope he's right.
That is not the structure of the 49ers. I would wonder,
and we can look at all the mocks, and mock drafts aren't team boards and all the rest of it, but I wonder if any team outside of the Niners had him as the, quote, best available heading into round 2.
No, maybe not. And actually, see, I don't care about that because they could be wrong. You have to go with your gut, but there's 2 questions that are very fair here. One of them is... why receiver? And the second one is could you have gotten that guy at the end of the round? Could you have gotten that guy in round 3? And look, that's their assessment right now. The bottom line is if he becomes a star in a year and a half, great. But that'd be my first question if I were in the room is you just use the 33rd pick. How does this guy get on the field this year with Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, DeMarcus Robinson, and if you want to throw in Watkins and Cowing, who they said they wanted to use this year, how does this guy get in? I don't even know how he makes the roster.
And he's the 33rd pick overall.
Well, and actually, obviously he makes the roster. So now who doesn't? They keep 6 or 7 guys. I just named 6 or 7 guys.
Right.
Is that it? That's your wide receiver room? They're all making the team? I don't know. So, yeah,
The more I think about it, the more I hate the pick. And if you look at the history of Kyle Shanahan drafting wide receivers, it's not very good. Ayuk, sure. Debo, great. But you've got a Danny Gray in the 3rd round. You've got, other guys where you took him a little bit later. Juwan in the 7th, great. Debo in the second, fine. Dante Pettis, 44 overall. That's a miss.
To me, your characterization is unfair to say.
No, it's a spotty record is what I'm saying.
I disagree. Like, I mean, you can bring up 2 or 3 misses, Jalen Hurd and Dante Pettis.
You can bring up 2 or 3 hits.
If I'm going to get Juwan Jennings in round 7, Debo Samuel was nailed. Brandon Ayuk went for 1,300 yards and helped you go to a Super Bowl before becoming a wackadoodle. And I know that we're early and jury out, but
Jury's out.
I love Ricky Pearsall.
You do.
And when he's playing, he's been a very good player in this league.
That's a big win. And so that's,
but
availability is everything.
Yeah, but I don't think you can say that his evaluation of wide receivers through the years is poor.
I said it's spotty. It's spotty. And if you want to just take the top 3 rounds, Jalen Hurd never played football. Right. And Dante Pettis as a second-round pick was a complete whiff. And so it's spotty. What I'm saying is I look at this pick in the second round, and it doesn't give me warm feelings because as we did our grades yesterday, top 3 rounds, they've not been at their best, and now you go ahead and use a receiver?
I know it's not the best for sports radio. I never rip fully a pick because I don't know if the guy's going to become awesome. I will say this. It's head-scratching. It's head-scratching. I'm not going to hate the pick. It's surprising and head-scratching based on positional need and what's already going on and how that room has already been addressed this offseason.
Yeah, I'll go beyond head-scratching and say it's a bad pick. He could turn out to be a phenomenal player, and I'll eat my words down the road. Yeah. Much like those people who thought Trey Lance was the sauce after one spring training practice or practice in OTAs and whatnot. Yeah, we all have opinions, and sometimes they come back on us. This pick right now, when you have a full wide receiver room and you have a spotty track record of drafting wide receivers, I don't like the pick. I think it's a bad choice.
De'zhaun Stribling, wide receiver, Ole Miss, is the Niners pick at number 33. We're taking your calls on this right now. By the way, edge rusher TJ Parker from Clemson went to the Bills at number 35. The Texans pick is in, and they're on their way to the podium right now to announce it. We'll share it when we get there. But let's hear from some of you. Jose in Oakland is first up here on Willard and Dibs. What's up, Jose? How are you?
That was one of those WTF moments for me, honestly. but you know what? These guys, they're consistent at least. They always stink, to say it nicely, when it comes to picking on the first and second round pick. What was the point of getting extra draft picks if you're going to waste the 33rd pick on a player that you never heard of before? Unless this guy all of a sudden turns into Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's a wasted pick, honestly. My car needs new tires. I need battery. The last thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get, brand new car seats. And if you're going to get brand new car seats, at least get the ones with the leopard print on it. Make it flashy. But this guy doesn't even register to me. I haven't ever heard from the guy. I'll be lucky if I can find some, footage of him on YouTube. That's head scratching, honestly. I don't know. Maybe Kyle didn't sleep well last night. I don't know what to tell you.
Jose, thanks. I listen. I'm gonna push back on this thing. I think it's funny in the draft when people go, "I've never heard of the guy." You haven't heard of any of these people, unless you are a college football super fan. Stop acting like if Boston walked by you. In the grocery store right now, Denzel Boston, you wouldn't know him either. So, that to me, that's not a fair criticism. The position, again, is to me a head scratcher as far as the room is concerned. And what I think is also a fair question is, could you have gotten him later? I mean, you had that mock up. How many other wide receivers were currently mocked ahead of De'Zhaun Stribling out of Ole Miss?
I'd have to count, but it's more than 5 or 6. And, the one I was looking at NFL.com had him so far down, there's not even a little blurb below him, 62nd on their list. So basically at the bottom of the second round, top of the third. But if you're a team that really likes a player, you don't want to risk it. And if they like De'Zhaun Stribling that much, then you go ahead and use number 33 on him. And I'm reading more scouts reports. They love his blocking. He blocks more than a lineman. Even an undersized tight end, consistently looking for work and trying to finish defenders on the ground.
And Kyle loves that. There's no question about it. Defensive tackle Caden McDonald goes 36th to the Houston Texans. Yeah, Grandy, what do you got?
Really quick, obviously it depends who you trust and who you look at. I can say a respected draft analyst, Dane Brugler, lists De'Zhaun Stribling as his 11th best wide receiver in this class. There were 5 receivers drafted in the first round, his top 5.
Okay, but and then
Dane Brugler's very respected.
Right, but there's all like if we listen to what Greg Cosell just told us, all of these guys have different styles. So I also never buy into the whole like, well, that's my list. Well, it's like, well, wait a minute. We're looking for an edge rusher to fit this system, or we're looking for a wide receiver that plays this way. I'll support that. I just don't really understand why that was the position they went with first. And then I think a fair question, could you have got him later?